Mindbender Mental Performance Podcast.
Episode 152, as we continue our book breakdown from today, Lessons from the Mental Game, The Mental Keys to Hitting by Harvey Dorfman. Today we covered Chapter 2, Aggressiveness Under Control. This is the Mindbender Mental Performance Podcast. Yes, this is episode 152. You can catch the first 100 and all video recordings of the podcast on the world's premier live streaming interactive event and podcasting hosting platform, nofilter.net. Otherwise, check out nofilter.net on YouTube, or if you just want the audio versions, check those out on Spotify and Apple. This is the only podcast that makes people and players fuerte en la cabeza. El lugar es aquí, el momento es ahora, wherever you are. The place is here and the time is now. You know what we do. We take it from the cloud to the dirt where it can grow, one episode at a time. Knocking down mental and, yes, oftentimes emotional barriers that get in the way of consistent and confident performance. Let's dive into episode 152 today. Aggressiveness Under Control from Chapter 2 of the Mental Keys to Hitting. You cannot be passive and succeed in this game because baseball doesn't reward the hesitant. If you step into the box with a passive, timid mindset, you're already out. You just don't know it yet. Remember the great Mo Vaughn, that big beast of a man? He was like the Prince Fielder before Prince Fielder came in. He was like the old school version of Prince Fielder. He said it best. You've got to have the mentality that you're going to make somebody pay when you're at bat. And that's not ego. That's an approach. That's a self-imposed demand for performance. That's aggression, but aggression under control. There's a fine line between a hitter who's aggressive and a hitter who's out of control. One barrels balls and runs up extra base knocks. The other chases balls off the plate, swings at everything, and spends the game walking back to the dugout, shaking his head like a lost little puppy dog. The Greeks had a phrase. They said, nothing in excess. That's baseball. That's life. You need fire, but not recklessness. You need control, but not hesitation. The best hitters, they live inside of that balance. Aggressiveness without control is just hacking. The truth is, flailing ain't hacking. You can't just walk up to the plate thinking I'm going to swing at whatever comes my way. That's how you get played by pitchers. They see a guy like that and they can't wait. Remember a guy named Corey Myers? He got a $2 million signing bonus from the D-backs, and guess what? He struggled. Not because he wasn't talented, but because he lost his mental edge. He went from thinking nobody can get me out to I just hope I make contact. He went into prayer. And we've talked about the three types of players there are: the prayer player, the primal player, and the perfect player. I just hope I make contact. Now he's a prayer player. And that's the wrong kind of prayer. He stopped attacking and started hoping. And in baseball, hope is the infection that turns into a disease and ends up killing careers. The opposite is just as bad, though. The guy who's up there hacking away at everything, swinging just to swing. These guys are all gas, no brakes. And what happens? Pitchers figure them out. They stop throwing strikes. They nibble on the edges. They expand the zone. And the aggressive but dumb hitter keeps hacking away. That's why aggressiveness under control is the only way to win at the plate. You have to be ready to swing, but not at a bad pitch. Your bat is a weapon. But if you just start swinging it around with no plan, you're just a dude swinging a stick, not a hitter. Think about when you layer patience and power together. Now that's dangerous. You got to look at guys like what I would say the best baseball player of all time, Barry Bonds, and you've got power hitters like Mark McGwire and the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas. These guys weren't just power hitters. They were disciplined assassins. They walked more than they struck out because they weren't just aggressive, they were aggressive with control. Remember a guy back in the late 80s, I was 9 years old. His name was Jack Clark before the All-Star break. This dude was lost, hitting under 200, pressing, hacking at everything. Pitchers knew it, so they stopped throwing him strikes. And he kept swinging anyway. Probably sounds familiar to some. So what did the great H.A. Dorfman tell him? He told him, you should try leading the league in walks. Probably sounds crazy telling a power hitter to focus on walks. But what happened was Clark stopped swinging at shit. He forced pitchers to throw strikes. He raised his batting average. He hit more pumps, more nukes, more pumps. Why? Because he got pitches to hit. He took control of the at-bat instead of letting the pitcher dictate it. That's the key. Patience makes power even more dangerous. If pitchers know you won't chase, they have to come into the zone. And when they do, you hammer it. One other important thing I think we talk about today, the fear of striking out is worse than striking out. The fear of striking out is worse than striking out. We've talked about it before. The cave you fear to enter probably holds the treasures that you seek. This one's important. If you're stepping into the box afraid of striking out, you've already lost. The fear of failure turns guys into defensive, slap hitting, pray for contact hitters. We all know the type. They don't drive the ball because they're swinging not to miss instead of swinging to barrel. The great Ted Williams, one of the greatest hitters of all time, maybe the greatest hitter of all time, said, hitting is about getting a good pitch to hit. The rest is timing, balance, and execution. We say this all the time. Number one, get a good pitch to hit. Number two, you got to see it. Number three, hit it. You can't hope for a walk. You have to be ready to attack, but only when it's your pitch. Remember the great Todd Helton? He figured out in early 2000, early in his career, he was way too aggressive. He chased too much. But once he found his balance, that year he became, I think, one of just a handful of players in Major League history to have 100 walks, 200 hits, 100 runs, 100 RBIs. You heard that right. That's aggressiveness under control. That's the balance that we all need as hitters. The best hitters, they hunt. They don't guess. Maybe if you're talking to a silver slugger, they might tell you they guess up. These dudes are hitting in the portal. They have crossed the barrier. Maybe one day you can get up there and make a few guess shots, but the best hitters hunt. Great hitters aren't gamblers. They're hunters. They're not up there guessing what's coming. They're looking for something specific. Remember the great Carlos Delgado? Every time I go up to hit, I'm ready. What's he talking about? He's ready to attack if he sees his pitch, ready to take if it's not there, and ready to adjust if he needs to. That's aggressiveness under control. That's knowing what you want and waiting for it, not jumping out at the first thing that looks hittable. Got to be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or timid. For God goes with you, and he'll never leave you or forsake you. And that's in the greatest coaching manual of all time, the Bible. So you got to train for balance. If you want to be a dangerous hitter, you have to train both sides. Train your aggression. Step into the box with bad intentions, but train your control. Don't swing just to swing. And trust the ojos. Trust the eyes. A disciplined hitter is a deadly hitter. If you feel yourself getting out of control, getting into those yellow or red lights, jumping at pitches, letting frustration run the show, that's when we go through our 3-step release process. A physical action, maybe that's unstrapping and strapping the batting gloves back on. Number 2, a breath on a focal point. So looking at the left field foul pole and taking a breath, left field foul pole, let it go. Slowing the heart rate down, resetting to execute the next pitch. See it and hit it. A walk is not a failure. A walk means you force the pitcher to beat you, and he couldn't. Aggressiveness under control. That's how you win at the plate. That's how you become a hitter pitcher's fear. Para mis jugadores latinos, más línea, más vida. Hasta el próximo recuerdo. Si quieres ser un jugador disciplinado, comprometido y preparado en el futuro, empiezas esa mierda hoy. Se necesita lo que se necesita y lo mejor está por venir. Until next time, remember, if you want to be a disciplined, committed, and prepared ball player in the future, start today. It takes what it takes, and the best is yet to come.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.